Hello and welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. Today it's FPL Game Week 28 preview. It's a quick turnaround. Game Week 27 just finished on Wednesday, and then Friday is Game Week 28. Tune in and you can ask your questions, any advice, any tips going into Game Week 28. I have with me my brother Yusuf Ismail. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
So, how was your Game Week 27 Kevin De Bruyne triple captain?
No, I didn't have Kevin De Bruyne. I haven't been making any changes recently. It's been quite conservative on my end. I've been trying to not do what I did in the first half of the season, which is why I'm so low in our mini league, which is to change every week. So who did I captain? Let me check. I think
I
I
had
captained
Gundogan.
Harry Kane. Yeah, no, I didn't captain him. Who did I captain? I think it was Gundogan or Kane. I'm not sure. I captained Gundogan, yeah. So I got 20 points of Gundogan. Luckily, he came through in the second match, but that was a bit of a disappointment that the double game week for City really wasn't, how do you say it, as fruitful as it should have been or what we're anticipating. And it kind of, for me, it's like, okay, now City is, a lot of City players are a rotation risk. So I don't know, like even people did Harry Kane triple captain, right? A lot of some people, and they got 57 points for a triple captain. So it was just one of those weeks where you don't know what everyone had their luck, right? I ended up with 62 points, but still dropped one red arrow in the mini league, dropped arrows in all the overall leagues and stuff like that. So with 62 points, it wasn't enough. So like I've noticed as years have gone by, people are getting more aware of the tactics and following resources and following templates and that sort of stuff. So overall, it was an average week. Average was 60 points. I got 62 points. Captain Gundogan. But it was okay. I'm thinking of making a lot of changes going forward, but I don't know if I should wildcard this week. Game week 29 is coming up next week, the blank. So just a bunch of thoughts actually going on, a bunch of decisions basically.
Yeah, I told you last week to Captain Bale, and I didn't do that because I was waiting. I didn't want to do the -4 hit, so I was going to do it this week. But I think I'm too late on the train now. Gareth Bale, Harry Kane, both they're killing it. I think it also shows that even if it's a double game week, you don't necessarily have to go with the team who's playing two games. You
Yeah.
can go with the if Tottenham had a really good fixture against Crystal Palace, who has a weak defense. So I think you could whoever captain came, that's it was a great move. I didn't think of it at that time, but now I'm starting to think that's the way to go. Look at the fixtures, look at who's in form, and just a word on the Spurs trio. If you look at Kane and Bale, they're more goal threatening. They're in those goal threatening positions, whereas Son is
Yeah.
creating those chances. So
Yeah.
I think it's you can triple up on them with the blank week coming, or you can go two of them, Bale and Kane. I think ideally that'd be a good kind of try to go. And
If
Kane
you
is
still
giving
have
you
your free
assists.
hit, and if you
Yeah.
have a free hit, that's a good option actually. You can stock up on Leeds, you can stock up on Aston Villa, you can stock up on Tottenham. So, but I think on a normal, like going forward, triple Tottenham is a bit heavy-handed. I don't think that's the right call. I think you pick one of them. I would say Bale and Harry Kane would be my picks. Harry Kane's undroppable at this point in terms of strikers. He's the best one. Vardy is pretty cold, and no other striker right now is, I guess, returning like him. Even Bamford's been cold. Antonio is on and off. And DCL has failed to fire. So I think Kane is a must-have. And then it depends. I think if you have a free hit for 29, then triple them up, no problem. But long term, I would say stick to two. Son, like you said rightly, has been playing more of a playmaker, so maybe he's not going to get as many attacking returns versus Bale. But then Bale is, you ride the train until the wheels fall off, right? You don't know how
Yeah.
long he's going to last.
There's two things with Bale. I think you can see Mourinho's closely monitoring him. So he's going to play every game. And he said also, I think Mourinho said this in one of his press conferences, that he's a very important player for us. So we need to make sure, and I don't think he's at his full peak fitness. So they're monitoring him closely. I think he's going to start in the big games, but he might play 60, 70 minutes. So, it's a risk keeping him, but I still think it's worth it because he will get you those chances while he's on the pitch. Even if he comes
Yeah.
on off the bench, he'll produce chances. So I think Bale is a great shout in that way. Harry Kane, he's providing assists, goals, and with Bale's form, even Kane has improved. Like his chances created, shots in the box. shots taken, I think they've all increased.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think these Spurs assets are crazy. Kane and Bale. I mean, I don't want to like hype them and then they blank for 2-3 weeks. But I think it looks good right now. They're playing Arsenal. You might not want to captain them, but I think it's a good shot. Why not? Like if you want to be a bit differential, even though Kane is not differential, but against Arsenal, people would probably go Bruno for West Ham. But I would probably
KDB Fulham, I think, right?
KDB Fulham. Yeah, I think people will go there. So if you want a differential captaincy, then you can go Kane or Bale against Arsenal. But speaking about, you're talking about Kane and now he's returned to form and everything. Can you say the same thing about Salah? Will he come back into form and will you stick with him if you have him?
So I have Salah and Fernandez. People last week wrote off Fernandez and he came out.
You can't.
With a penalty,
I told you
right?
that.
Yeah, I know. And I didn't drop him. I kept him. But there's a lot of chatter in the scene that, oh, let's drop Fernandez. We don't know if he's going to perform at City. And then he comes up with a penalty, right? And he's got 10 points. So if you had captain Fernandez last week as a differential, you got 20 points. So I think Fernandez is undroppable. Even Salah, you can argue both ways, man. I don't know what the right answer is. It depends on who else you want to bring in and what your priorities are, right? Like, if you think Kevin De Bruyne's 2 goals was just like he had it coming and then he's going to like stabilize a bit, then maybe it's not worth bringing in someone. But like for someone who's cheaper and considering the fixtures, it's not a bad idea to take out Salah and bring in KDB, even for a couple of weeks to try it out because KDB is cheaper, and you can straight swap Salah back if he gets into form. But at the end of the season, I think Salah has better fixtures in the run-in in the last 5-6 game weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So I would not. He's not done and dusted for the season. If you want, you can bring in Kevin De Bruyne for Salah. Or even if you want to take a risk and you want to, or if you have a wild card, maybe you can build a team without Salah. But it's a tough question. I would say bring in.
In my opinion, if you have him this week, I would keep him because Liverpool's away form is good, and Wolves have like the highest expected in terms of goals conceded and shots in the box in their box. So I think Liverpool will create a lot of chances, and I think Salah will probably score in this game. And I would keep him one more week and then see if you really want to take him out. But I wouldn't drop him. I have him in my team. I won't drop him till the end because him, Bruno, I even Kane to a certain extent. These guys are kind of undroppable in FPL, like in the last couple of years, because they will produce goals no matter what the team's form is. Bruno, we've seen that already. People want to drop him. He scored a penalty against City, and I think this week again, Salah, he will probably prove those guys wrong as well. If he doesn't score, then I think it might be time to move on. But I would just keep him because this fixture is a good fixture for Liverpool. I've been saying this for the last 4 or 5 games, even against Fulham. I thought it was a really good fixture. I actually recommended people to captain him against Fulham, but it didn't work out. But still, we've seen even in the Champions League, they will create chances, goal-scoring opportunities, Liverpool. So I think Salah, stick with him one more week. But talking about Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan's stats have decreased a bit with Kevin De Bruyne's inclusion. But that's because I think he's playing a bit deeper now. Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne is in that attacking position, that false nine position. He's getting those shots off and creating those chances, those assists. So with Gundogan, would you stick with him another week, or it's time to switch to the straight swap Kevin De Bruyne for Gundogan?
I think it's for many people, it's not that easy to do a straight swap with Gundogan because Gundogan is in your team because of the budget concerns, right? Like for 5.9, I'm not sure what his value is right now. Let me just check that. He's currently sitting at 6.2, so he's increased in value a lot, right? So for 6.2, you're getting someone who still, if you captained him, had 20 points in a week, and without captaining, 10 points is a lot, right? So I think it's not, if you have those funds, I don't know how you've gotten yourself into that position where a straight swap.
But probably you have to take somebody out as well. But
you have to take someone out. But I would say double City defense is done. I think it's too unpredictable. I have 2 changes. I'm gonna make one change in defense because I have Stones and Cancelo. Both of them are rotation risks. Diaz is the only starter who's confirmed, I think, almost every week. So if you want to stick to a City defender, you have Diaz. So regarding Kevin De Bruyne, if I were to bring him in, I would keep Gundogan at least for now. It's too early to consider selling him because yes, in the last couple of games when Kevin De Bruyne has played, his attacking threat has come down. He's again like Son, he's become more of a playmaker. But no, I would not do a straight swap. If you want to get rid of Salah, if you're feeling a bit not risky, but if you're like, I've had enough of Salah, like he's not going to do anything for me, that's the move I would make. Fernandez is undroppable. He's definitely blanked recently, but Salah has blanked way more. So no, the simple answer is no. I would not do Gundogan for De Bruyne. I would do Salah for De Bruyne if you have him, or I would still stick with double City attack because at least there's some consistency. And it's funny because the teams who are doing well, they're doing a lot of rotation, so you just can't help it. You just have to like pick a team where like other people like you're picking other assets who are not as rotated. Like Kane is rarely going to be rotated. Calvert-Lewin is going to play, even though he's had a diminished impact on Everton because Carlson is playing and they're playing two attackers and that sort of stuff, right? Yeah, that's my answer.
But yeah, even with the defense now, because of the rotation, I think the defenses are kind of unsettled. They're like conceding a few goals here and there. So, like, when you're breaking that Stones Diaz partnership, you're bringing in Laporte, like that chemistry is kind of lacking now, which we saw earlier. And City were getting back-to-back clean sheets, but that's kind of missing right now. And that's maybe because of the rotation. But you can't do anything. You have to rotate.
I think it's 100% to do with the rotation because like Stones and Diaz played for I think 12 13 straight games, or their defensive partnership was unbroken and Laporte was injured, right? So like while they didn't have a rotation risk in defense, they also had a chance to build up a partnership and this what's it called, rapport between each other. Like you can't just tell if you have Vidic, Ferdinand and like West Brown, you're not going to keep rotating West Brown in because Vidic and Ferdinand played like 4 or 5 seasons straight without any breakup, right? This rotation policy is happening in other sports due to COVID as well. I'm not saying this is a COVID thing. This is a Man City Pep thing because he always rotates. But like, if you want consistency at the back, you cannot rotate. But that's what's happening. So that's affecting the Premier League fantasy team decisions. And I would say if there's one person, you keep Diaz. Otherwise, people have even people are also considering not having City defenses at all, just doing a double City midfield and moving to more Chelsea assets. So we can talk about that Chelsea is becoming very popular, especially defensively.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, so
basically move from City to Chelsea defense. Chelsea back-to-back clean sheets. Over there's kind of rotation between Chilwell and Alonso, but you'd probably go with the Rudiger or Azpilicueta. Even Reece James has been starting. I think he's preferred to Hudson-Odoi recently, so maybe you would go with the Reece James.
Same issue. Rotation is there. Same rotation, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, we have Zohair in the house. What's up, man?
What up, bro? Miss you.
Any tips, any questions, please send them in. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I think it's time to look at Chelsea assets because I think Tuchel has tightened up that defense. They're very organized. They're focusing on clean sheets. So yeah, I think these are the guys to look forward to. Alonso, Chilwell, again, it's a rotation thing. But like I said, the other 3 defenders you can definitely look for in Chelsea. Havertz coming back into form, 2 assists. Watch out for him because I think he's a very talented player, but he's taking time to adjust to the Premier League. It might be too soon to jump on that gun. But the Gareth Bale, it was a risk. It paid off. Havertz could pay off as well, especially they're playing Leeds. And Leeds, we know that they leave that gap at the back. And Chelsea can attack that. Even though Chelsea haven't scored that many goals recently, it might not be a bad idea to go with a Chelsea attacking option, either a midfielder or attacker. Because they're playing Leeds, and definitely I would go with one of their defenders for sure. And I think Chelsea right now, some good assets. Midfield, like we said, Havertz, Werner hasn't been scoring, but he's getting into those positions. It's only time. I think just give him some more time. I know it's been a long time since I've been saying this, but give him a bit more time. I think he will start scoring, and maybe the Leeds game is a good game to start for him. Apart from that, your captaincy option for this week.
Oh, before I go on from the defense, another great option, especially and shout out to Andy from Let's Talk FPL. Like I've been following his stuff recently. Like he's a legend. He talked about West Ham assets, right? And he said the run into the end of the season, West Ham have good fixtures, and Cresswell is the number 1 defender on points right now. I had him in my team for a few weeks, and I took him out. Perfect. You got 12 points last week, I think. So, like having West Ham, even though their fixtures on paper, there are a lot of reds. I think what he was saying is spot on. It was like, if you have Cresswell, keep him. Otherwise, bring in someone like Dawson, who's really good. He scored like 3 goals already this season, and and West Ham defensively are are pretty solid. They're becoming difficult to break down and stuff. And Moyes is trying to maybe even get into the top four, right? So if you can't afford Cresswell, like Dawson's another good example. Sofal is also still there. He was popular in between. So I would say another thing would be maybe longer term, if you don't want any City and only want one Chelsea defender, get in someone from West Ham, ideally Cresswell, because like I had him for about 5 weeks and he returned almost every week for me. I removed him because I got scared of the red fixtures, but in the longer term, it was a mistake because I went for double City at that point. But just yeah, shout out for West Ham defenders as well. And
Yeah, I think
regarding captaincy, ooh, differential, man. I think I'm going to put Salah the armband on Salah. Just a wild differential.
yeah, that's a good option. I think it's between Salah, Bruno, KDB, these three options.
Yeah.
City, who else is there? I think, I don't know, man. Sterling, I'm not trusting him the last few game weeks. Gundogan,
Sterling's
maybe.
form's
But
a
yeah,
bit down.
I would go either KDB, Bruno, or Salah. Those are the best options. Then Arsenal, Spurs tend to see goals in that kind of fixture. So you could go like a Kane or a Bale, but not many people will go. So if it does pay off, it'll pay off big because you'll have a gap on your other opposition teams. But I think apart from that, yeah, those three: Kevin De Bruyne, Bruno Fernandes, and Mohamed Salah. I think these three are the best options for captaincy this game week for sure. I completely agree with that. And yeah, and any other thoughts? Any other kind of moves that you're thinking of doing this? Like planning for the blank game week next week. So Spurs are going to play. So definitely it's good to double up on Spurs players. And the run-in as well. I noticed Spurs, Arsenal have good fixtures. North London teams have good fixtures. So does Liverpool.
Saka is a good person in the long term to bring in. He's a good price, and he can have. And with the way Arsenal are playing, he'll have a good run in at the end. So he's an option in the future. Me in particular, I have triple Leicester right now, but I don't think I'm going to keep that for the long term. In fact, I think in 4 or 5
Triple
weeks, I'll
Leicester. Who do you have? Madison is injured.
sorry, not Leicester, Leeds. Sorry.
Yeah.
Bamford, Rafinha, and Dallas is who I have.
Yeah.
But Dallas is going to go because I don't think it's worth having Leeds defenders. Even Bamford might go for Watkins because he's just not returning as much. Like as much as he returned that one game week where Rafinha and him, like all three of those guys scored. I think it was 2 game weeks ago. I forgot which match. But
he's getting to good positions, but he's just not finishing. Bamford.
He's not finishing. He's not finishing. So I think I'll keep until game week 29. I'll keep those 3. I might bring in Watkins, but he hasn't been performing as well without Grealish. Grealish is still an injury concern. I might this week because of the rotation in defense. I think Cancelo and Stones might play this week. So instead of wasting another transfer, I might just do Pope to Martinez actually, which is I know it's not like a obvious move, but because Burnley have been poor, I went in for Pope a few weeks ago when they had those double game weeks, but they just had Pope. He picked up, but then I think I got on too late to the bandwagon. So, and Martinez is on fire. I think he's my goalie till not the end of the season. There's talk about getting in Mendy from Chelsea, and he's a reasonable price and stuff. But if you can't afford Mendy, I think this week I'm gonna bring in Martinez, and see, try my luck with the City guys. Play game week 29, and then rotate 30, and then 31 is going to be the wild card for me, I think.
Yeah, and I think I think James Ward-Prowse is also a good pick. He's scoring almost like regularly now, and he's getting those set pieces, penalties, free kicks. So I think he's a good pick. And Southampton, slowly they're getting their players back. They look better. Yes, they lost to City, but they did win earlier in the week. So I think some Southampton assets, I think Ward-Prowse is a good one to look at, like a good bargain. For Aston Villa, Watkins, the only issue I have is until Grealish comes, I wouldn't touch him because he's not getting into those positions. The chances created is decreased since Grealish is gone. When he comes, everything will increase. They'll have more chances and he'll probably score more, Watkins. So that's why I'm not looking at Watkins right now. But,
what do you think about Martinez though? What I was thinking of doing.
Yeah, I think that's a good decision
because Pope is not doing anything. Like he's not
Burnley have been conceding recently, so I would go with that. I don't really focus too much on the goalkeepers in my the way I look at it, but I think Martinez it is useful because
I had him for the longest time, but then there was that whole thing getting Burnley defenders because of the the double game weeks and stuff, but it just hasn't panned out. So I think that experiment is over. I'll go back to Martinez. At this point, I've lost 0.1 because I sold him for 0.3. Now he's 5.4. So I'll still save 0.1 that could be useful at any point. But I think Kevin De Bruyne for me after game week 29 is going to be probably for Salah. If I captain Salah this week and he does not give me returns, I think for now he's out until the last 5-6 game weeks.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a good way to look at it. I would hold on to Salah as well. And I think that wraps up the preview. Make sure that you make your teams before tonight's deadline.
Yeah,
There's
it's today.
Yeah, so there's a few hours left, and there's Newcastle Villa game before that, hour and a half before the game. Make sure you make your changes, and the games are just keep coming thick and fast. We just finished on.
This is a huge game week. It's Saturday, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and there's a game on Monday. Liverpool plays on Monday, so.
Yeah, and what do you call it? We just finished on Wednesday and we're starting on Friday, so the turnover is very quick. So there will be rotation. So keep that in mind. Just watch the manager press conferences as well today, just for your injury updates and everything.
That's a pro tip. Yeah, if you're like really into FPL, like I don't do this, but like if you really want to be ahead of the game, that's an awesome tip. That watch the manager press conferences, or at least follow someone like Fantasy Football Scout. I think they always repost highlights from the manager, and that'll give you an indication of what they're thinking on the team selection. Not now, even later, because like for example, I'll just one point. Ancelotti was talking about how Richarlison is going to come into the team. He's switching to a two attacking formation. Calvert-Lewin won't be the focus. So it's like, is that an indication that even though Everton's fixtures are good in the next 5-6 game weeks, if you look at it, there's no reds. In fact, there's a few greens and there's some silver, like grays. So that gives you an indication that if you want to read into it, maybe Calvert-Lewin after 29, you drop him, or you wait for Everton's double and you take him out because he's not the focus. It's Richarlison. So great tip.
Yeah, so make sure you look at the press conferences. That's like you said, that's where you get the indication. And make sure you make your team. Don't forget to make your changes. Ideally, I'm not a guy who goes for -4, -8 hits, but you can go for a -4 potentially if you need to.
What are you doing? What are you doing this week?
I don't need to do -4. I have 2 transfers. I'm going to bring in Bale and Kane. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. If I don't, then I'll try to find the next best option. I'm going to remove Sterling, I think, from my team, and that's how I'm going to try to play around.
I think it's time because
I don't know if I can afford both the Spurs assets, but I'm going to try something, or maybe get a -4 if I really want them. But they're playing Arsenal, so let's see. And I think Mohamed Salah for a captain is a good option, although I might change my mind, but I think that's a good option for me. But that's how I'm going to look at it. And make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Hope you enjoyed everything. Get to keep...
And our Instagram, chasing.greenarrows.
Yeah, you can go on our Instagram, ask us questions anytime, and we'll be at your service 24/7. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you before the next game week.
And one more thing, this is not fantasy related. We're doing a giveaway throughout the end run of the Champions League. We've done the first round is complete, the round of 16's first leg. We're currently in the middle of the second leg. We'll be doing it for the semifinals, quarterfinals, and the finals. So please check out our Instagram for more details. We're going to be giving away a big prize at the end of the season.
Yeah, some good prizes there. And I think stay tuned for the latest content. FPL, Premier League, Champions League, everything football.
We got you.
Take care.
Take care.